Welcome to our few moments together on the Parsha. This Shabbos, of course, we have the privilege of beginning the fourth of the Chamisha Chumshei Torah, Sefer Bamidbar, with the reading of Parshas Bamidbar, to be followed just a day later on Sunday night with the beautiful Yom Tov of Shavuos, Zman Matan Torosenu. The Medrash Rabbah tells us that the Torah was given in three ways. It was given through fire, Eish, it was given through water, Mayim, and it was given through Midbar, the wilderness. The Eish and the Mayim will focus on perhaps on Shabbos. I'd like to focus today on the Midbar, that the Torah is given under the circumstances of a Midbar, of a wilderness, or a desert, if you will. And it's interesting to note that the Haftorah of Parshas Bamidbar, taken from Hosea, begins with the words, V'hoya mispar b'nei Yisrael kechol hayam. The count of the Jewish people will be like the sand of the sea. Sand, like you would expect in a desert. Asher lo yisafer, which cannot be counted. Asher lo yimad, which cannot be measured. V'lo yisafer, and cannot be counted. The count of the Jewish people will be impossible to measure or to count. And yet, in the Pasuk, we're compared to the sand of the sea. What is the metaphor? What is the Torah trying to teach us by telling us that we are going to be like the sand of the sea? Rabbi Shamshon Raphael Hirsch in his Sefer on Haftorah so beautifully explains that what the sand of the sea, each kernel, if you try to count all the kernels of the sand of the beaches of the sea, asher lo yimad v'lo yisafer, it can't be measured, it can't be counted. So what's the purpose? Says Rav Hirsch, the sand of the sea does an unbelievable thing. It holds back the sea from inundating all of life. The majority of the world is water. And if the water would rise and flood the earth, it would be impossible to live. But the sands of the sea, of the beach, hold back the waters, all the sands together. Each kernel individually doesn't have that power. But when you put the Jewish people together, the sands of the sea, V'hayu b'nei Yisrael kechol hayam, we are going to be like the sands of the sea. Then, even though it can't be measured and can't be counted individually, but as a group, they're able to hold back the drowning of the world. We hold back the world from drowning in its falsehood and misery. And over the centuries, from the time of the giving of the Torah to this day, it is the Torah that has sustained the life of the Jewish people and even the world, because the Jewish people have set a standard that have given the world an understanding of a purpose and a goal in life, a concept of the divine, and that it's capable for a human being to rise high above the simple, mundane physicality that we possess. As we come to the Yom Tov of Shavuos, the time of the giving of the Torah, we become attuned to the idea that the Torah is unique in the history of the Jewish people. In fact, it is the sustaining force of our continued survival. And in these difficult times, when the land of Eretz Yisrael, Artseinu HaKadoshah, the land that beats in every heart of every Jew who cares about the Jewish people, recognizes that the beating of that heart of the Jewish people has been sustained over all the centuries by the Torah. When we ask ourselves, what can we do to help support the Jewish people in the land of Israel, to help support Klal Yisrael throughout the world? Let's think about history. Isn't it so that over these last thousands of years, ask ourselves, what has sustained us? What is the single most outstanding feature that has been part of the Jewish people throughout all these years? The one thing that has managed to be a constant in the history of the Jewish people is the Torah in our midst, the study, the practice, the teaching, the learning, the loyalty, the constant involvement, the la'asok b'divrei Torah, the involvement of the study of Torah. That is our sustaining value. So when we come to these difficult times and we ask what we can do, I propose that what we do is learn the Torah. Comes this Shavuos, comes this Shabbos, comes this beautiful Yontif that's coming our way. Let's eat our cheesecake and enjoy it. Our blintzes and enjoy them. Let's eat the wonderful festive meals. Let's sing the Hallel and the songs. But let's focus on the main thing, the giving, the learning, the teaching, the practicing of the Torah. Let's set aside special time for the learning of Torah. It will be the biggest boost to Klal Yisrael, because when all the Jews get together, it's not just one kernel of sand, but they hold back the drowning, the destruction. It's the Jewish people, each one individually and collectively, with the study of the Torah, that holds back the destruction. And our coming Yom Tov gives us the opportunity to focus on that. Let's study some extra Torah. Let's learn something extra on this Yom Tov, on the Shabbos, and maybe even a little bit more each day, so that the Jewish people's survival continue, because the thing that holds us together, and it's incontrovertible, it's the one thing, the one constant in all our history that gives us the recognition of who we are, our beautiful Torah, Torah Seinu HaKadosha, the Holy Torah. V'sein chalkeinu b'sarasecha. Give us our share in your Torah, Hashem. And let us all have a wonderful, good Shabbos, Shabbat Shalom u'Mevarach, and a Chag Sameach, and let's enjoy Kabbalas HaTorah through the idea that we're all one, and we can hold back all the destruction through the study of the Torah. Shabbat Shalom and Chag Sameach.